Coming up, the FAA doubles down on flight instruction, what your association is doing to fight for you.
Plus, meet an 18-year-old flying a Cub to all lower 48 states and stopping into a unique museum. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haines and Alyssa Cobb.
This is really hard to believe, but the FAA is about to make a policy change that would degrade safety and make it a heck of a lot harder to get training and flight reviews in experimental and limited category aircraft.
That's right. This unwarranted policy seems to be based on an irrational position taken by FAA lawyers in reviewing the Warbirds Adventure case. You remember we told you about that a couple of weeks ago, and in that case, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia upheld an FAA cease and desist order against a company providing flight training in a P-40 Warhawk. Broad language in the court's decision had possible implications for the larger flight training world, so AOPA and other aviation associations asked FAA to clarify its policy. And to everyone's surprise, the FAA said in a return letter this week that it would issue a policy affecting all owners of experimental and limited category aircraft that
would require all of those aircraft owners just to get a BFR or some regular training in their own aircraft to get an exemption if they have a limited or primary category aircraft, or a letter of deviation authority, also known as a LODA, if they have an experimental category aircraft. And for context, there are about 29,000 amateur-built experimental aircraft on the FAA registry currently, and about 400 limited category aircraft and about 30 primary category aircraft.
And that just doesn't work. AOPA and a bunch of other aviation organizations have just fired off a letter to the top dog at FAA asking him to intervene and immediately revise the proposed new flight training policies. It's a matter of safety.
And so we are asking the FAA to go back, take a look, use some common sense, speak with us to ensure that there are safe pathways to training and that there are not any changes in policy, particularly that are not legally required.
Justine says AOPA will not stop until FAA comes back with a rational flight training policy. In the meantime, AOPA asked FAA to not make any enforcement actions against pilots and flight instructors in experimental and limited category aircraft.
Well, trouble for Icon Aircraft. The company makes the A-5 amphibious two-seat light sport airplane. Now, a group of Icon minority shareholders are suing the majority shareholder, Pudong Science Technology Investment Company, or PDSTI. They are claiming the firm intends to illegally transfer aviation technology to China. Members of the suit include former Boeing CEO Phil Condit and Icon founder Kirk Hawkins. Now, the suit says PDSTI is more interested in transferring Icon's technology than having the company succeed in the marketplace. It also says that PDSTI sidelined Hawkins to prevent new investments and blocked a potential agreement with Yamaha that could have expanded Icon's product line. Now, Icon officials acknowledged the suit, but they wouldn't comment on the active legal matter.
What was the most significant achievement in aeronautics or astronautics last year? How about the Bell V-280, the Army's future long-range assault aircraft? Or reliable robotics remotely operated aircraft systems? Or maybe the remarkable SpaceX Falcon 9 and Dragon 2 crew capsule? Pretty stiff competition, but the winner of the 2020 Robert J. Collier Trophy is
Emergency Autoland activated. The Emergency Autoland system is controlling the aircraft and will land at the safest nearby airport. Please remain calm. Avoid touching the flight controls which may interfere with Autoland. Your destination is shown on the bottom of the left and right displays. Your estimated time to landing is shown on the top of all three displays. Emergency Autoland has already informed air traffic control of your situation.
Yes, the winner of one of the most prestigious awards in aviation is Garmin's remarkable Autoland system.
Yeah, I think for us, this is a really special award. We didn't go into this, of course, thinking about the potential for awards. I think our team was was very focused on creating technology and products that would make a difference for people. And so there was a personal level of passion that went into especially Autoland and a lot of our products for that matter. But Autoland especially, you know, a group of pilots, aviation enthusiasts that worked on this, and they felt like there was some difference we could make.
Autoland is currently certified on 3 aircraft, including the Piper M600, Cirrus Vision Jet, and TBM 940. So far, the system requires auto throttles, but could the technology trickle down to simpler aircraft?
Yeah, auto throttle is a great technology, and as simple as it sounds, people that have flown it really appreciate it. And again, it was a foundational technology that we needed to be able to do Autoland. And I think, like so many other technologies and functions, as they evolve, they make their way down market, and we fully anticipate these technologies will as well.
So, Alyssa, you remember I had a chance to fly the system, the Autoland system, in the Piper M600 and the Cirrus Vision Jet, and was very impressed with the sophistication of the system and its ability to keep the passengers informed, safely land the airplane, and even make decisions en route based on changing conditions. Pretty phenomenal. Great to see Garmin get the recognition for this safety improvement.
That's right, and just, you know, the lives that can be saved in the rare event of a pilot incapacitation event. It's really remarkable technology and well-deserved.
Right. And we'll find out whether or not it is just for emergencies in the future. And you can see some of those comments in my full interview with Garmin's Cliff Pemble in the AOPA Pilot Lounge. There's also a link in the description to our full video on the Autoland system.
Well, AOPA is working to address the hangar shortage. Now, at many airports, it can take years sitting on a waiting list to get a hangar. AOPA sent a hangar survey to 700 AOPA Airport Support Network volunteers. Now, 71% of the airports surveyed have a hangar waiting list. At those airports, many owners waited from 6 months to more than 2 years for hangars. There are even reports of waiting up to 15 years. And while the wait is over, the hangar might not be in good condition. Many are in need of repair. Now, airports say they can't build new hangars due to high construction costs and lack of funding. AOPA is partnering with state aviation directors to look at hangar supply and develop solutions. And AOPA is fighting to save another airport. This time, it's Hartford Brainerd Airport in Connecticut. The City Council is proposing that the state close the airport and develop the land. AOPA sent a letter to the City Council emphasizing the economic value of the airport. Hartford Brainerd generates $43 million per year in statewide economic activity. AOPA also reminds the Council that the airport is federally obligated to stay open until 2035. That's because the state accepted FAA Airport Improvement Program grant funding in 2015. Now, AOPA is encouraging the city to capitalize on this valuable transportation asset by working with the state instead of trying to close the airport. Now, you can read more about it on our website.
18-year-old Ben Templeton will experience firsthand the value of GA airports across the country. He's flying to all the lower 48 states in a J3 Cub. AOPA Live's Josh Cochran has Ben's story.
18-year-old Ben Templeton lives for flying airplanes.
I'm in aviation. I fly airplanes. That's pretty much all I do. And then my background is my dad's been flying his whole life, and he got me interested as a kid. And then I started taking lessons all through middle school and high school. I soloed on my 16th birthday and got my license at 17.
And now Ben is flying to all the lower 48 states.
We chose to do all 48. A lot of people have done coast to coast, even coast to coast in a Cub multiple times. So we decided to go bigger and talk to more people and stop at more airports.
Ben's love for aviation grew through his experiences at Triple Tree Aerodrome in South Carolina. The immaculate grass airport hosts youth aviation events and exists to ignite and expand passion for aviation.
I wanted to do this because Triple Tree's founder, Pat Hartness, brought up the idea one day at lunch, and I thought it was a good idea, a good way to build time and promote Triple Tree and promote aviation, so I decided I was going to take on this trip in the Cub. Pat has helped me along the way with getting flying time and even remote control airplanes and competing with those. And he's also been a big role in teaching me to fly. He gave me my first flight in this and helped me along with flight instruction.
And the airplane Ben is flying has a long connection to Pat's family.
The airplane, it's a 1946 J3 Cub. It's got a C90 on it. Pat Hartness bought it from the EAA up at Oshkosh many years ago, and it's been at Triple Tree in South Carolina ever since. Pat's stepson took it from coast to coast several years ago, so it's been coast to coast and now going to all 48 states.
On this journey, the airplane will serve as a display of thanks to the people helping Ben with the trip.
The names on the airplane are, most of them are all the airports we're planning on stopping at. There's also all the states on the horizontal stab, and then all the other names in red and black are donors and sponsors and people that have helped this trip along the way.
Ben sees the trip as a way to pass on what he has received from Pat and others. Along the way, he hopes to inspire other young people to pursue their passion for aviation.
Yeah, it's just a chain of someone helps you get into flying, so after you start flying, you want to help somebody else get into flying and to share the passion for aviation.
Josh Cochran, AOPA Live.
Ben departed last week, and he already has covered more than half the states. As we record this, he is in Minnesota. You can follow his progress and support his journey at benflies.com. So, Alyssa, I was at Triple Tree last week, just a few hours after Ben left, and I can tell you the community down there is super excited and super supportive of him. It's really fun to see.
And if there's ever a place or a community that's going to encourage someone to have a love of aviation, it's Triple Tree.
Yeah, it's a remarkable group down there.
Well, when we come back, the future is now. Electric caravans and pilotless King Airs.
History is rich for the Aviation Museum of Kentucky.
I'm a full-time filmmaker, and I integrate a lot of flying in with that and primarily produce film and videos around aviation. So I've got about 1,700 hours, about maybe 300 or 400 of that is dual given. My ratings are commercial, airplane, single engine land, and then I'm a CFII and just recently got my tailwheel. So I use SiriusXM weather hands down all the time on ForeFlight. We were doing performance testing off the coast of Florida, and we needed unrestricted climbs with no clouds above us, and we needed unrestricted descents, no clouds below us. And we actually used the cloud layer that SiriusXM feeds to the iPad, and it was shockingly accurate. I really tend to gravitate toward using SiriusXM in the cockpit because of the resolution of data that it's providing me. I mean, when I'm looking at NEXRAD or weather on the horizon or satellite cloud layers, anything like that, the resolution of the image that it's giving me is so much higher and so much more frequent than ADS-B, especially when you're operating in an IFR environment.
Welcome back. It's a way to make your dollars go further to support the future of general aviation. The 2021 AOPA Foundation You Can Fly Challenge just started. AOPA Foundation Challenge donations will be matched dollar for dollar up to $2.5 million by the James C. Ray Foundation.
So the Ray Foundation grant is literally lets you double your impact. If you give us $1,000, it's $2,000 towards the programs that we fund and so on and so forth. And any amount matters. Last year we had about 5,000 donors participate in this, so we had pretty good participation, and we'd love to see more folks participate this year.
Donations through the You Can Fly Challenge will introduce more students to aviation opportunities, support flying clubs, enhance flight training, and help rusty pilots return to the cockpit. The challenge is now open through the end of the year, and you can donate at the link on your screen. And you can be sure that AOPA is a good steward of your donor dollars. The AOPA Foundation just received the highest rating possible from Charity Navigator. The highly respected nonprofit evaluator just gave the AOPA Foundation a 4-star rating for financial health, accountability, and transparency. Now, only a quarter of charities evaluated by Charity Navigator received this distinctive rating.
Some United Airlines planes will be making a distinctive sound, a supersonic boom, or ideally sonic whisper. United has just signed a deal with Boom Supersonic to buy 15 of Boom's Overture airliners, with options to get 35 more. The Overture will carry 65 to 88 passengers and cruise at Mach 1.7. You have to wait a while to get your ticket, though. First flight of the speedy airliner is scheduled for 2026, passenger service beginning in 2029. But you're going to be able to book a seat on an electric aircraft sooner than that. Lima, New York, a charter operator that's part of Blade Urban Air Mobility Network, is converting its fleet of 10 Cessna Caravans to electric. You may know the operator by their brand, Fly the Whale. They run hops from the 23rd Street Seaplane Base in Manhattan out to the Hamptons on Long Island and to Nantucket. The Caravans will be equipped with the Mag-9X system.
And Merlin Labs and Dynamic Aviation have joined to automate some 55 King Airs. Merlin develops drop-in kits that can retrofit conventional aircraft for autonomous flight. Now, Merlin is even working on a way for the robot aircraft to talk to and respond to air traffic control. Now, of course, these aircraft have yet to be certified for autonomous flight in the National Airspace System. Merlin does have permission to conduct tests with a pilot on board to watch the automation.
Last week I was on the road and we taped the show with me on location at the Aviation Museum of Kentucky. Their collection is an interesting one, and it's having great success at getting kids from the Commonwealth steered toward aviation and aerospace. Inside this stately-looking building in Lexington, you'll find the pride of aviation in the Bluegrass State, the Aviation Museum of Kentucky.
The primary goal of the museum is education for students in the aerospace industry.
And there's a lot to see, including a replica of the Sellers quadruplane.
That was the start of aviation in Kentucky.
In the early 1900s, Matthew Bacon Sellers II rigged a small 5-horsepower engine to this craft with 4 wings.
And he started working with gliders and eventually decided he was going to power one of the gliders. Built this quadruplane, had a little French 2-cylinder engine on it, and flew it 5 years after the Wright brothers did their first flight. It has retractable landing gear, the first aircraft with retractable landing gear. He would retract the landing gear after takeoff. Then when he came back and landed, he dropped the gear down. But as soon as he landed, he retracted the gear again. He had no braking system, so the skids would dig into the dirt and stop him.
The museum's other showpieces are several military jets, including this F-14 Tomcat. All that interesting and historic hardware provides the setting for a youth aviation camp each year.
Every summer we do an aviation camp for students 10 to 16. In 2019, we had student number 6,500 attend. One of the highlights of our camp, we have a 2-day camp. The first day is classroom, and we use the STEM system to educate them.
The highlight of the camp is a flight with a CFI where each student receives dual instruction on a leg and gets a signed logbook to take with them. A number of camp graduates have gone on to work in the industry. If you want information about the youth summer camp, find details on aviationky.org. So Alyssa, a great little museum. It's fun to go to those kind of out-of-the-way places sometimes and see what they have on display, and you find some really unusual airplanes like that quadruplane.
That's right, and it's great to hear what more and more places are doing to encourage children through STEM and aviation.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, that's our show for the week. We're glad you're with us. Leave us a comment down below or send us a note. We want to know where you plan on flying this summer.
You may even see some of your responses on the air. We'll see you next week.
Purchasing your own aircraft is an exciting experience. AOPA Finance simplifies the process, saving you money with lower interest rates and hassle-free loans, so you get into your new aircraft sooner. AOPA Finance, the right approach to buying an aircraft.